Whom was Saint Valentine? Was he, assuming he was a he, ever about romance? Who is Geoffrey Chaucer, and why do I feel like he'd be approved for a mortgage sooner than I would? What is a credit score when you got bars? Huh? Lupercalia? All of these questions will be answered. Noise. If you like Valentine's Day, then you're a schmuck. Probably. Or your love language is gift giving. Either of these two makes me think less of you. But that's okay because my opinion matters as little as yours. I am not saying there's something wrong objectively in buying a card or flowers for the day before the Ides of February. Go off king or queen or non-binary monarch. It's just that I respect you less. And I think of you as a simp who is duncy. But in fairness to you, I'm a man who has to carry scissors in a box. So what really is the scene with this stupid Valentine's Day? Some things you probably already know. Valentine's Day is named after Saint Valentine. And Saint Valentine was a Christian bishop slash priest slash man who may never even have existed. Lucky cunt. I, on the other hand, unfortunately definitely exist, so it's safe to take my words as correct. I have even researched some of them on Ecosia. I have no jokes about Ecosia because as a company, they get me hard and I want to have sex with Ecosia. I want to put her on some Marvin Gaye and eat Ecosia's ass for 45 minutes. So that's just the start. This Valentine, bishop man slash priest man slash non-entity was given sainted because he was allegedly martyred. A king in Glasgow, a martyr in this situation is defined as a person who voluntarily suffers death as the penalty of witnessing to and refusing to renounce religion. It sucks to be martyred, for sure. On a list of not nice things to happen to you, it is most likely there. But them same motherfuckers who declare people saints went on to have the Crusades and killed 3 to 9 million people, and then, a little bit later, came to the Americas and made 20 to 49 million people die. But I mean, once you're cool to accept that these idiots make the right decisions, then yeah, sounds good. I support this potentially non-existent man. Death Day. Once a year, people in relationships where they rely on milestones to show affection make a big deal and buy a card from almost exclusively Hallmark. Inside there's a tacky, dumb message. Then these people buy a flower which will die within a week at best to signify that their love looks pretty at first and then dies, no matter how much you care for it. If any of the words I just spoke described you, you are a living cliche. Noise. There's not technically anything wrong with this, as I am a man. Jesus fuck. I'm a man. Get out of my room, Mom. I'm a man. I'm man. I'm Batman. I'm Batman. Ah, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it. Molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man, and by then it was nothing to me but blinding. That's your fucking scene. But yeah, I'm a man who feels no happiness, so don't assume I'm correct just because Geoffrey Chaucer got my mortgage. That's your fucking scene. Here's some other cliches you're a bad person for wanting. 1. Candlelit dinner. This is a fire hazard. 2. Box of chocolates. Fuck you, Forrest Gump. 3. Edible underwear. If you're sucking some dick or eating ass and you think, no, not enough teeth, then you're doing it wrong. Okay, that's not the way to do it. I'm sorry I had to tell you. I wish you'd learned before, but you're wrong. And that pretty sucking tally describes the whole Valentine's Day today. Then in French is puis. Puis in French is then in English. So, in English, if you want to say the word for then in French, then you're looking for the word puis. But if, on the other hand, and this one is tricky, if you're trying to speak English translation for the word puis that you speak in French, don't let the collaboration of 4 letters which come out as then escape you. That's exactly the syllable you need. Whom was Saint Valentine? This brethren is the patron saint of lovers, epileptics, and beekeepers. The 3 groups needed for my ultimate sexual fantasy. Noise. Allegedly, Valentine signed a letter from your Valentine to his jailer's daughter, whom he had befriended and healed from blindness, which is a thing that people believe. Also allegedly, he used to defy the emperor's orders and marry couples. secretly. So he liked threesomes. There is minimum 50 different legends about him. The earliest surviving records had 2 February 14th Death Day Valentines, and they both had plenty in common. This is so much so that they were both executed on the same day of the same year, buried along the same highway. To quote History.com, historical evidence is so sketchy that it's not clear whether the story started with one saint who then became two, or if biographers of one man borrowed details from the other, or if either ever existed at all. I don't like quotations. I don't know if I do one and then I speak and then I end with one, because that's how you write them, or do I just the whole way like a fucking bunny hopping along? It makes me feel silly, and I'm a man who feels silly just on a regular day basis. I can't believe I still exist. Why haven't I been hit by a bus? The big questions, but I'll get to them later. Please take some time to look at Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy's confirmed children, who we should all be able to agree are just disgusting.
Somebody once told me the world was gonna roll me.
Who is Geoffrey Chaucer, and why do I feel like he'd be approved for a mortgage sooner than I would? Geoffrey Chaucer was a poet. He wrote in Old English, which is dumb. But to be fair, he's old and English. He's so old and so English that he is dead. Lucky fuck. He's also credited as the wet man who made the earliest known suggestion that Valentine's Day was a day to fuck. Geoffrey Chaucer did this in his 14th century poem, The Parliament of Fowls, where he says, Saint Valentine's Day, spelt S-E-Y-N-T, like a woman's man, no time to talk. But in this poem, he say Valentine's Day, the day when every fowl cometh there to cheese his make. So a bunch of people 700 years later are having candlelit dinners and using teeth in oral sex because an old Englishman talked about birds fucking because it was springtime. He also did not say birds about to get some, or time for these birds to procreate, or it's now the hour for birds to clap cheeks, or any respectable way of saying it. He said birds making cheese right now, and everyone got either hard or wet simultaneously. And of course now, the logical evolution of time has ensured that there are couples who make TikToks and post them on their story for Valentine's Day. Nice. If you don't know what a TikTok is, how nice it must be to have arthritis and back pains and not care about the climate crisis because you'll be dead in 15 years. As for why I feel like he'd be approved for a mortgage sooner than I would, he'd walk into a bank and say, I entered the establishment, and while I have cock cheese, I haven't crabs yet. I think this building society should pity and admire me, for I am Geoffrey with a G. A 1.75% fixed 10-year mortgage is what shall come to be, otherwise your manager I shall have to see. You get me? And the bank teller person, alright. Whereas I'd walk into a bank and, hi, can I help you? And I would say, good, what about you? You should leave. Yeah, I know. And then I would leave. Valentine's Day's initials are VD. How romantic is a day when it's all about Vin Diesel, motherfucker? Lupercalia? Lupercalia is also a potential reason for Valentine's Day. It was a fertility festival which started on February 15th, dedicated to Faunus, the Roman god of agriculture, as well as the Roman founders Romulus and Remus. Fertility, a keen in Glasgow, is a synonym for reptile. So, if you go to the doctor and he tells you, a keen in Glasgow, are infertile, it means you're not a snake or a lizard, and it's very good news for the future generations. To begin the festival, members of the Luperci, which was an order of Roman priests, would go to a special cave and sacrifice a goat for fertility, of course, and a dog for purification. Sad. Puis it was time to strip the goat's hide into strips and dip them into the sacrificial blood. Very much like putting nachos into salsa, but at the same time, not at all like putting nachos into salsa. After that, the Luperci would take to the streets, slapping women and crop fields with the bloody goat's hides. Big romance. plus 10 coins. There's also a legend that later in the day, women put their name in a big urn and men would choose a name and they would be paired for a year. And that also sucks hairy testicles, because I imagine more times than not, the urn was not a good matchmaker. It could pair a Pisces female and an Aries male. The urn didn't care. Also, it made for a shitty story. So how did you two meet? Urn. On a significantly more important note, in the Western Hemisphere, February is Black History Month. Instead of wasting time not honoring in the slightest a fake priest, or buying a card because a guy said birds make cheese, or purchasing soon-to-be dead flowers because the Romans used to assault people with animal carcasses, try researching Mansa Musa, the 10th Mansa of Mali's reign, looking up Ivan van Sertima's thesis, or reading Capitalism and Slavery by Dr. Eric Williams. I'll put a link to one of Ivan van Sertima's lectures. Make sure to like this video ironically, share it ironically, subscribe ironically, and comment why gerontologists hate you. New videos each week, I guess.